I want you to imagine what your life would be like if all you noticed were things that you appreciate and how much that could change your life. So I want you to sit there and think about that for a second. This is a powerful manifestation technique that I've used for a few years now, and it really changes your whole psyche, kind of rewires your brain to think differently. And that's what we have to do, is we have to think differently in order to make changes in our life. So this is what this video will be about, just talking about appreciation and how it affects our manifestations and our life as a whole, our quality of life. If you're new here, my name is Samantha and I'm a therapist, and I am creating a video every day. The intention was to get over my fear of public speaking and social anxiety, and I've really kind of conquered that. So we're only 167 videos in. This is 167 today of 365. So just doing a video every day. So thank you for joining me. And if you're new or old here, thank you for joining me. I so appreciate you all. And I thought I'd do a different format from now on. I'm going to kind of keep these videos a little more concise. Sometimes I may rant and ramble, but we might save those for lives or other types of videos. I don't know. So I'm changing it up just a little bit because I feel like I want to get more bite-sized teachings, I guess, into these videos. So yeah, and we have some guests tonight, some kitty cats. I don't know if you'll see them, but you may see them in the background a little bit, but we'll see. So I thought we would again talk about appreciation. What if you looked around your life every single day and only looked for things to appreciate? What would that change in your life? And what I always recommend is when you wake up, the first thing you do is you say thank you, instead of, oh my God, I just woke up, I don't want to get up, and those types of things that we think about sometimes. So if you're a chronic complainer, this video is for you. So we've got to watch out for what we're chronically thinking about. We want to change what we're chronically thinking about, because if we're chronically complaining or we're in a bad mood a lot of the time, things like that, then we are probably not feeling so good most of the day. And so if we want to manifest things, the reason why is because we want to feel better. We want to feel good. And so if we can start feeling good anyway, without anything external changing, that's where our true power lies. So that is what I love to teach about. It's what I love to practice. There's nothing better than internal peace. So when you first wake up, you're going to say thank you. And you don't have to say it out loud. You can just say it in your head. Just, oh, thank you. And just these tiny little things that you do will start to accumulate over the next few weeks, months, years, and they'll just start being a part of your routine. You won't even have to think about doing them. You'll just become it. That's what I want for you, is that you're not just practicing these things, they're becoming you. It'll become, part of your identity. And so if we want to switch into a new person from self number 1 to self number 2, got to start thinking differently. And you're worth that. I want to just say that, because I think a lot of people don't think they're worthy in general. I think that's a chronic, negative thought that people have about themselves, is that they're unworthy or not good enough. And I'm here to tell you, you're perfect the way you are. We just want to level you up into becoming the you that you know that you can be inside, that you're probably not being for various reasons. And we don't necessarily need to know the why right now, but first thing you want to do is start appreciating things. So you say thank you. You say, wow, I love, what I love to do is I look outside and I see all of the fall foliage starting. And we've got these 2 trees at a neighbor's house that are just they look like they're on fire. It's such a beautiful red-orange color that they both turn every year. And then, of course, we have to deal with all of the leaves everywhere in the yards and the pools and everything going on. So it's, and then I appreciate that too. I'm just okay, I'm going to appreciate all of it. So, and notice the abundance of leaves that are falling. You got abundance all around you. So notice abundance of things, which means abundance is a lot of, much of. Look for things that light you up, something that excites you. I'm telling you, start really small. It doesn't have to be this big thing. You want to live from your excitement. There's nothing better than that when you can live from your excitement. So as I've said before, a cup of coffee can be exciting. Make rituals, routines out of these small little things and see what happens. And that's what I like to do, is start really small and create this beautiful foundation before I move on to the next things, and I always go back to that foundation. I check in with it. I'm like, okay, how are we doing? Because if we're not focused on our foundation at all, we can kind of get cracks in the foundation if we're not paying attention. And we go back to our default thinking, which is complaining and not noticing the beauty around us in all areas. So you want to look for things that you appreciate. So it could literally be everything. Thank you for this breakfast. Thank you for this plate and fork I'm able to use to eat the breakfast I just made. Thank you for the coffee. Thank you for the mug that the coffee's in. Thank you for the creamer. I put monk fruit extract powder in my coffee, so thank you for the monk fruit. Thank you for these legs that help me walk upstairs. Thank you for my laptop. Thank you for my meditation. Thank you for my eyes that I can see with. Things like that. Like the littlest things. I used to tell my clients, like, what would happen if you all of a sudden went blind? This thing that you're worried about right now, it would not even bother you anymore. Think about things like that. Like, how much really would this bother you if you were blind or you were deaf or you couldn't walk anymore? I mean, some of you watching may be in those situations right now. And I bet you to, kind of agree that, man, if we could just fix that one thing, we'd be feeling good. And then when that one thing goes away, it's like, man, nothing really ever really mattered that much. The things that I was complaining about and the things that I didn't appreciate. So it's more like, we've got to look for the things to appreciate instead of things to complain about. So what I want you to do also is, when you notice that you're complaining, and you've got to notice these things, like really notice where your brain goes. It's going to go to default patterns. Like, I even notice if I move something that's been in a certain place, like let's say you move your toothpaste. Your toothpaste is normally in a drawer next to you, and you've decided to move it underneath the sink now. Well, if it's been in that drawer for like a few months, your brain is used to telling your hand to go open the drawer and take it out of there. But you'll notice if you put it in a different spot, your brain will go and open that drawer. It'll tell you to open the drawer first, and you'll be like, oh my God. And it'll kind of happen by default. The physical actions of things will happen by default. It's so strange. And so that's how I know that our thoughts are just chronic. I mean, they're just so programmed. Everything is programmed. If you look at your life is programmed. So let's reprogram. Let's recode everything. So when you're thinking a thought and it's a complaint about something, notice it and say, oh, I just did that again. I just complained. Okay. So we've got to disrupt that thought pattern. So you notice it. You say, okay, I got to do something different here. And then we rewire it with something else. So I like to rewire with appreciation. Number one. There's no need to berate yourself and say, oh my God, I did it again. I can't believe I did this, and get mad at yourself. There's no need for any of that. It's just gently guiding yourself somewhere else and saying, I'm going to think about this differently now. What can I do? And I will tell you what, there is no better way to live than to be in appreciation and to feel good, feel at peace, feel happy for no reason other than you're alive. Seriously, you can get to that point. Now, are other people around you going to enjoy that? Probably not. You can be the beacon of light for them. You can be the inspiration for them. I don't care about the other people that don't like it. I want you to shine your light as bright as you can, because that's what we're here for. Just be that light for people. Be the lighthouse. And don't dim that light down to match other people. You want to be the one that inspires. And then you're going to go home and be happy. And it takes practice to be happy. It takes practice to teach yourself how to be happy when you're noticing so many things around you and that maybe aren't the way that you want them to be. That's another thing about manifesting is we don't need to check things. We don't need to check if they're working if we already are that person that has it. And remember, Neville Goddard says, what you persist in, even though it's false right now, will harden into fact. So if something isn't the truth right now that you can see, you're going to persist in it and say, no, it's this way now. No, I'm this way now. No, I have this now. And that's part of the rewiring. It's just tricking yourself to start believing these things other than the things that you're already believing. The things you already believe in, you have so much faith in them that they're true, that they've just become true because you've thought those thoughts for so long. That's what I want to get through to people that maybe don't believe that this stuff works. It's all it is reprogramming yourself to think that you're in a different world, basically a different reality, like you're a different person. And so you've been thinking these old thoughts for so long that became your self number one. And that's who you've been your whole life. But there's got to be something inside, I think all of us, that says, golly, I know I've got a bigger potential than feeling this way. And I know I can feel happier and more confident and all these other things. And so there's got to be a better way. And so that way is becoming the self 2 identity. And we've got to make changes to self 1 and switch over to self 2. And so you've got to remind yourself that you're learning this skill of being you, the new you. You already know who you are, but we want to level it up a little bit and be happier, be healthier, be more have wellness in life. That's a really good way to look at it, and have a great quality of life. So remember that your thought patterns are just learned. They're just lies, a lot of them. If they're negative, they're probably a lie that was programmed so long ago. You either heard something a lot of times over and over, and or you thought something so much that you just started believing it. And so it just kind of stuck in your brain. And that's really all that it is. But what if you were able to start believing the opposite, whatever that is for you? And what if you just programmed that in, you thought it so much that it overrode all the other millions of times you've thought the other thoughts? So really think about that. Imagine what that would be like if you were able, which you are, able to program that new self into your old self. What if you could do that? And really imagine the feelings that you would feel. And what would that look like? What would you be doing? How would you think now? Like, what thoughts would you let go of that just don't feel good at all to you anymore? They don't help you or serve you. And think about, who do you want to become? Because when I thought about it, I was like, what if I had a camera on me 24/7, like inside my thoughts? That would be embarrassing to all of us, I'm sure, in a lot of ways. We'd be like, we'd be terrified of that. And that's what we have to really look at. It's like, how many times are we judging someone else during the day? How many times are we complaining about someone else or ourselves? We're judging ourselves as well as we're judging others. So we have to really watch that energy, because the thing is, behind all these thoughts is some energy. And we've got to watch out what energy we're creating, because we're creating our next moments from that energy that we're in currently. And it just takes a shift in your mental state to change that frequency of energy that's being projected out. So look around at your surroundings and notice things, observe, look at the data. But when you're manifesting, there's no need to look and check things to see if things are working. There's no need for it unless it's fun to you. But always expect the best. Instead of expecting the worst, like we're taught to do, that's programmed, say, wait a minute, what if I am able to not think the worst anymore and I'm able to think the best? No one's ever taught us this stuff. We have to teach ourselves this. And I think these things are so powerful to do, because you've already probably done pretty well manifesting the life that you have right now, thinking, having so much faith in the negative thoughts, that what if you were able to have faith in new thoughts that you've maybe never thought before that make you feel the best? So that's what I love to do, is just think of the possibilities. So imagine the possibilities for yourself. Feel what that would feel like. You've been called to do more than you're doing right now in some capacity, and you can do it. You're capable of it. You're worthy of it. If you weren't worthy of it, you wouldn't even be here. There's something that's probably calling you. And it's probably your higher self saying, hey, let's feel better now. Instead of feeling, down in the doldrums like we always have, up and down our whole lives on this roller coaster. Let's just kind of get inside the boat and ride the waves and just enjoy the flow of life, instead of the complaints that we have. So you guys can do this. It just takes some practice. Remember, you're building a skill and it takes some time. You're just building some muscles. You can't get Hulk-sized muscles in, a week's time. You gotta eat the protein and do the workouts and do all the things. And this is so much simpler than that. You just have to align your energy correctly. And you'll know when you've aligned your energy, and you'll know when you haven't aligned your energy too. You can gauge that by how you feel. And as I've said before, I'll link the emotional guidance scale from Esther Hicks. I'll link that below. Just sign up for my email list and I'll send it over to you. It's a powerful tool to just know where you're at on this scale. And then you can kind of talk yourself up the scale by feeling just a little bit more relief than you're feeling now. So when you talk about thankfulness and gratitude, appreciation, all of those things, that just kind of gives yourself a little bit of relief. You're taking the focus and your awareness off of what you're normally noticing, and you're placing it on something that you don't normally notice. And we want to make that our default programming right there, to be thankful for every little thing we possibly can. Because when you're focused on that, you can only think one thought at a time. So when you're focused on something good, you can't possibly think about something bad. So it's just a shift in consciousness. If I could talk, it's the end of the day, I'm tired. I am tired today. I'm ready for bed. And it is like 7 o'clock p.m., I think. Oh, geez. So this time change, man, it gets me every year. Well, I hope you guys are doing well and fabulous today. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening. And I will be back tomorrow. And you are amazing. Just keep working on your thoughts. Keep working on yourself. Turn into self two. Decide and commit to being self two. You'll get there in time. I promise you, this stuff works. It's so magical. And start saying, I believe in the miraculous. If you want to, I believe in the miraculous. Start programming these affirmations in during the day. You'll start noticing huge shifts in your mental state, I promise you. So I will be back tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. And you remember to appreciate yourself, because what appreciates, or what you appreciate, appreciates, including yourself. So, and remember, you are loved. Pass that on to somebody today. And I will be back tomorrow. Bye.